so happy for that. I mean, this is what I keep saying from my day one, that it's not academic credentials that I really bother about. I really give importance to such small things. Being equally participative in all these sessions which we have been organizing. So good. I extend a warm welcome to all the students out here, and it's really gives me immense pleasure and honor to have my brother, I can say my childhood friend, right? We grew up together playing cricket, and we still do. Yes. So it's a great honor for me to have Tejasvi, uh, who is an engineer and an MBA, and got into initially into the startups, and now has been with the one of the world's, I can call it the software giant, SAP Labs, and it's been almost more than a decade right now, and been scaling up in various positions. So when Kedar from Mangalore, called me up and said that we need somebody who can talk on technology. Well, I could not remember anyone than Tejasvi. I immediately called him and said, "This is what we are organizing." And when it comes to student interaction, when it comes to sharing, I think he never said no. And that's why, despite of a Sunday, which is very important for a software guys, he has agreed to spend some quality time with all of you. On behalf of the Trisha Group of Institution, my management, faculties, and students, I extend a warm welcome to you, Tejasvi. I'm very sure that we will have many more sessions in the coming days. And at the same time, I would definitely wish to see you in campus one day, having more of a face-to-face interaction with my students. Well, just to give you a quick background about what is this event all about. So these are the students who have just completed their 12th and have enrolled for the first BCom with us, Bachelor of Commerce, which is a 3 years program. And parallelly, they are commencing with their professional programs like Chartered Accountancy and Company Secretary. But then here I have students who are pursuing Chartered Accountant. And most of them have already written their exam very recently, and they're waiting for the results in the next couple of days. And some batch of students would be appearing for the examination during May. So these are the real CA aspirant students who have come up with the only aim that to become a chartered accountant. And Disha is a bridge course that we have commenced on January 9th. So this event had a lot of sessions, which also covered something on their subject domain, and which also had something outside the curriculum, some motivational talks, and something that is really important to know for them beyond the curriculum. And today is also a one such session wherein they really need to know what exactly is happening in the technological domain. Probably a year back, 11 months back, we never knew that we could engage classes virtually. I never heard about this, platforms like Zoom or Google Meet until, we really got into such situations. So sometimes situation or scenarios makes you to adapt changes and all that. So here, as I was saying, all the students who are here, had almost a marathon sessions online. These people used to listen classes for 6 to 8 hours a day and still managed to do their best and have performed well in their initial foundation level examinations. So really hats off to them. And as I said, they're eagerly waiting for the classes to commence, which I said hopefully is going to happen very soon in the next couple of days. So yes, students, Tejasvi, as I said, would be speaking on the technological aspects, the overview of technology and how it has been evolved since many days, since many years, what is the past, present, and the future. And more interestingly, he's also been highlighting that how a commerce domain student can explore some of the opportunities in the technology. Yes, so this is what he's gonna deliberate on. And as I request every time, any speaker would love to take questions, would love to have it on an interactive basis. So please keep your questions ready and feel free to share your views to me via chat box. I can then take it up to the speaker for his views and clarifications. Yes, Tejasvi, thank you so much for accepting the invitation. All yours now.
Sorry, I was on mute. Cool. Thanks, Guru Prasad. I think it was a very wonderful intro. I just opened up a lot of things which we both have been sharing. You guys can still see my screen. That's
yes,
the presentation board, right? You're not seeing any mail.
No, it's perfectly fine.
Okay, cool. Super. I've just got an extended window as well, so I was just wondering that it's not switched and all. No. Now also you're still able to see the screen.
Absolutely.
Cool. Nice. Yeah, welcome. First of all, guys, as Guru Prasad was also mentioning, how do I refer you, Guru Prasad? Which first name, last name, or
Guru? Guru is fine.
Right. As Guru was referring, right? This is the whole pandemic has changed the way we all interact and the way we all work, the way we all learn. Because even our kids, at least I have a twin, they're still getting into KGs, and both of them are attending online classes, which is so much fun to watch as well. It's so much stressful for all of us, right? Even though the it's work or office or any other activity, also it has taken a toll. Hopefully, we all get back to our normal life as soon as possible. Having said that, this also has opened up a lot of opportunities, right? Things which we were never thinking or which we wouldn't have dreamt that I will sit in front of my laptop for like 10 hours or 8 hours a day to learn something. It was yeah, maybe unthinkable. And the other way around also, we were never even expecting that we can actually spend the whole year sitting at home and working. But still, that happened. A lot of things happens, which is also good. Let's see how we all can go back to our normal life soon as well. Right? Today, maybe what I'll like to quickly take you guys through is also on. Hello?
Yes, yes. You're visible. I mean, you're not visible actually. You're audible.
Hey, sorry. Yeah, I don't know. Something got muted. Yeah, kind of. Maybe it would have been great to have this round face to face for sure, right? But I think it's also because of this digital world, we are able to meet and exchange ideas over such platforms, which is definitely a boon. And let's see how we all can keep this overall session as engaging as possible, as interactive as possible. Because one point is, I'm not going to touch upon too much in detail about technology. Right? That's not what we want to. As there might be a lot of things where you and I would have been going through in terms of understanding of technology, and maybe as your expertise or your area is also not something only into software or only into engineering part, I would really like to maybe give a very high level insight on what happens in software and what are the trends where things are moving towards, right? That is something which much more interesting for me because uh, the way things have shaped up in the previous last decade is something unimaginable. And I'm not saying that this happened only now. This happens every now and then. And this is the transitional phase, I think, which we all are getting into too. Maybe a quick intro about myself, which Guru already said. Right? I'm currently working with SAP Labs, India. It's based out of Bangalore. Have been in this industry building software for about 17 years now.
Right.
We started the career in 2004 and still going strong in the same industry. And with SAP for about 15 plus years now. So joined SAP in the year of 2006 and going still strong with SAP. Today, as I did mention, right, I'm not going to preach something completely into technicalities. I'm not here to make you guys in any stronger or better than where we are, but definitely want to give a very high level insight and even share ideas on what we are today dealing with software. And in that context, we'll hear on the evolving trends and how are we still relevant as an industry? How are we still relevant as business? And then one more interesting aspect, I don't know how many of you would have given a thought, can I, from a commerce or a CA or company secretariat kind of a background, put our expertise into software world? Maybe that's also one of the area which I really want to touch upon because it's not something so disconnected at some point in time. We all are connected in a way or the other. And that becomes even more relevant when we maybe you guys are slowly getting into your college or academics. Once you get into your 1 or 2 years of your professional career, then we'll realize that, oh, this is also connected. This is also much interlinked, and we all are depending on each other so much that yes, we can contribute anywhere. That is one more area which I would be touching upon as well. Good. Any questions so far? Anything else you want me to talk about? Maybe yes, I'll not spend. I know time is premium. And we all have uh, got up on a Sunday morning, and yes, I don't want to take a lot of time. I'll try to keep it crisp and short, and
Yes.
let's see how much interactive we get into it. Stop me wherever you want to. Nothing that I want to take questions only at the end or only after closing a topic. Just buzz whenever you guys have anything to talk about. Okay. Yeah, what I want to just maybe start with is we are, uh, how much ever we run away from technology or how much ever we believe technology is everything, but it is true to some extent where things are revolving around technology.
Mm.
Like it became even more prominent last year or even now or from now onwards, where we run our businesses, where we run our livelihood, where we do our transactions, and we do everything and anything based on technology as well. It could be as small as texting someone, or it could be as big as uh, earning something, or going through our livelihood, or it could be as simple as just trying to watch a movie. Right? We all depend on technology in one way or the other. Maybe in the next few slides or in this particular round, we'll also see how it has evolved along the way. Right? It is. I'm not saying that this will be something completely new which you wouldn't know as of now, but maybe it's just a refresher of sort how things are evolving and how things are shaping up in this current industry. Right? Yeah. Just a background on the company where I'm working for, right? SAP. This was formed in about early 1970s. It's been nearly 50 years now for the company. And the whole intention where it all started was how do we support businesses at that point in time as well, which was primarily brick and mortar. What this means is we were completely running our businesses on institutes. It could be maybe a bank. It could be maybe any of the other retail or stationery or anything of that sort, right? We were depending on a brick and mortar kind of a business model itself. And slowly, that was the whole era where things were starting to evolve. What it means, the whole Coca-Cola as a company was completely driven out of one or two locations. And then the whole communication channel between how things, goods are shipped from one place to other. Maybe that's on a overall retail industry. The second one could be on the hospitalization factors, right? Where I would actually go and get admitted to somewhere, and then things were all written as part of that particular show itself. Right? So in those contexts, things were all finite. Maybe the whole banking sector also. What I was doing, sorry, just a second. Hello.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. The whole industry itself was primarily driven based out of concrete institutions. And the way you were connecting to each other, it might be at max over a telephone, which also came very late in the system, might be by post, which was also a different means. Uh, but the maximum thing could have been a person going from one place to other to communicate, to engage, and to evolve that industry. But still, life was going on, but still, we were able to make money. That was how the whole evolution started at that point in time. right? Maybe the next part which happened was on the web. This might have come up in 2000s, or we can also say it's in early 90s. That we slowly started getting to digitalize things. It could be the way we were able to store data. Because when I say SAP came into existence in 1970, yeah, with SAP in 1970, maybe IBM would have come in 1900s itself. Slowly, our industries started getting a bit more evolved. What does this evolution mean? It was slowly getting into a connected world. We were getting more and more web-based aspects into play. Internet started coming in. Maybe we were trying to exchange things over mails. We were trying to store data in systems because the world also grew in a way where we wanted to be much more faster because we slowly got to know with internet, with computers, and we can get even more faster than where we are today. Right? We could do things in a much more easier way than what we were doing. We could store data in a much cleaner way than those ledgers, right? That was when things started evolving in an exponential way, to be honest. Just think of the whole Indian economy itself. Just think of the population which we are running on and the ease of business which we should have thought about and we could get into it, right? So those are the factors which actually maybe in the year of 1995 to 2000, the whole industry started evolving towards web. And maybe what happened afterwards, that's just going on and on and on from there. Maybe I went into mobile devices. Maybe my first mobile, I got it in the year of 2007 or 2005, maybe, right? So that was the era which then people started understanding. Yes, if I have to really take an example of a Nestle or a Nike showroom or maybe a movie theater, right? Yeah, maybe movie theater could be a bit more easier also for us to relate, right? Where we all could actually communicate with each other, maybe via mobile in a bit more easier way over an application. Today, what I do in order to book any movie, I just open my mobile and then maybe book it via any app, or maybe even watch a movie in the mobile itself. That's a different thing. But with the help of mobile, we started thinking of a lot of possibilities in the whole industry. Just for example, if I have to transport a good from one place to other, and just think of a logistic place who is just doing a lot of transportation of items from point A to point B, and think of shipping any item within Bangalore, or even in Udupi or Mangalore, which has to reach about 100 stores. And once an item leaves their go down, and there is no means, at least before these kind of mobile devices came into play, on how do you track it, how do you actually record it, and how do you get a response within no time. Right? Those were the avenues which completely opened up once mobile as a device came into existence. And this mobile story is still evolving, it's still growing. We are not yet done with the mobile as such, right? Even today, maybe I would have got rid of computer to an extent. The previous era which we were talking about, right? Maybe when we were in schools, when we were in colleges, we have got a desktop. I don't know how many of you still know what is a desktop. Maybe we have some screens and bigger desktops for some other reasons, but for our day-to-day work, we are no more talking about desktops. I don't even know how many of you are aware about floppy disks, which was a mantra for us. Maybe when we were in schools and colleges, we were completely depending on floppies to copy data from one place to other. And in terms of size, it was around 1.4 MB was the maximum size of a floppy disk, which itself was something at that point in time. And just assume uh, that that was the only means for us to copy data from one place to other. In terms of like if we have to submit any reports to our colleges and all, that's where we were there in 2004. Then with the mobile as a device, mobile as an industry, mobile opened up a lot of avenues for us to communicate as well as transport. It's not just human, it's not just end user kind of data, right? Just think from a enterprise, just think from a business perspective as well, where this is the main evolution which would have prompted for us to change a lot of things. There are two aspects which we as students or we as people who are getting into bigger enterprises at some point in time should think about. It's always that, yeah, mobile would have been a source for me as an end user, but how mobiles change the whole enterprise is a fascinating thing which we should also relate to. Just a second. Yeah. Now maybe how are we evolving further, right? One means initially we started with brick and mortar, which became the bread and butter of the whole industry, where we all knew that if I have to do anything, I have to get out of my house, maybe go to the shop, buy something, maybe then go to post office, drop a couple of notes for my friend or family, and maybe go to the bank, draw maybe $100, and then go to one more shop and give it to them, and come back home. But that's how the industry started, or that's how the whole life started. Maybe then slowly we evolved into a situation where we were able to communicate, we were able to get into this computer kind of a world. We were, or we got the opportunity to work on internet. The internet was a boon at that point in time, as I could do things sitting at one place. I could store data sitting at one place. And this becomes such a huge advantage. This became such a huge advantage for businesses where it just propelled the overall way what we look at. Like maybe in next slides, I'll also talk about what is the importance of a few aspects which matters in the business, right? And then came mobile. Mobile just opened up next set of paradigms in terms of engaging with people, engaging with customers, engaging with users, engaging with the community on the whole. And now the next phase is we have the internet, we have the mobile devices which we can play around. Next is the whole interaction between the people, between the communities. And that's where even today there's a lot of onus on. There's a lot of focus is on how can you as a system, how can you as an enterprise, how can you as a business, how can you as an individual connect to the whole world? And based on that connectivity of the whole world, how can you extrapolate information and how can you extrapolate data from there, which can further enhance your own business? And this is the model where we all are running in today. Maybe you would have heard about, just take the example of Facebook and WhatsApp, which is just doing rounds in our circles, right? Where, yeah, maybe there is some privacy breach or maybe some information we believe it's so personal for me. How can somebody else share it with someone else? That's the business today. Uh, you have to believe it or not, that's how the world is running to an extent. There's nothing too personal once you are uh, on internet, right? Because that information might not be misused for sure, right? There are different means of looking at using the data. In a lot of contexts, this data is actually meant to even build businesses. If I, as an individual, am browsing content which to buy an apparel or to look for a vacation spot, or maybe I'm trying to book a train ticket or a flight ticket, or maybe I'm interested in the launch of a particular product or a particular automobile. Yeah, this is not a personal information anymore because that automobile maker is also watching this page, or who is that particular set of users who are actually interested in buying this particular segment. Maybe the same thing goes for any other parallel industry which I just mentioned about. If an apparel shop, if I'm browsing on the net, maybe how many times you would have seen whenever you open a Google, we'll just see ads from that particular thing. This is the whole money making model. This is where people are earning for living, right? And social media slowly, if you see the trend, it's just evolving to a place where we all are connected. And this connection, yeah, maybe it just goes to one more level where it's not just when I open an app or when I just browse something on Google, things will work. No, so it's much more connected now. I just wear a watch, maybe I wear a glass, or maybe anything in my home also. I have Alexas or Google Echoes, which just reads things. What is the current state, and then takes things accordingly. Maybe if I'm wearing a watch, maybe it also captures a lot of other things, and then shares it back to the internet. So this is the way things are evolving, and data is also getting bigger, 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 and smarter to an extent. Right? I'll quickly move to the last couple of things before we get out of this particular slides. Right? And now, as I did mention about the overall data, right? It's also very, very important to see how these things can come together. And these things should be together in order to make a lot of sense. Today, for example, if you can connect to what we just spoke from past 5 minutes, it's brick and mortar, which was all disconnected, which it was only about you as an individual trying to do a lot of things and coming back. Next, it was primarily a web base where you could do things sitting at home. But then the whole industry evolved into a space where you and your mobile and apps, and then the social media where the community actually grew businesses. Now we have so much data in front of us. We have so many various angles to look at, and this has opened up another big domain of, maybe you can also see it as machine learning or the artificial intelligence, where I will learn based on your action, and then I will start either building my software in that way, or I'll start suggesting you as an end user to do certain things in a way. Maybe yes, this can be alarming. Maybe yes, we would have already gone into that trap of, if I'm thinking of something and tomorrow all of a sudden I see that ad, it just books me off, saying that is someone really looking at whatever I'm doing, or is it someone listening to me? Yes, maybe. I'm not saying that we all do it in that way as a software industry. But yes, it's not just what you're, when you talk something, you end up actually browsing it or maybe clicking on a couple of things which were completely related to it. And that's how the whole industry has evolved to a stage where information has become the king. Right? Maybe I'm talking about one part of the world, but you can draw parallels to anything and everything in the overall industry, saying there are a lot of aspects which have to be connected and which will eventually be connected also, which is at least 90 to 95% for our best interest itself. I just saw and maybe a question or something from Guru. Is there a question, or maybe Rona?
Yes, there is actually one has come to me. I'll just take it up to you.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, this is a very apt question. He says there are about double the population of the smartphones that we have compared to the human beings here.
Mm-hmm.
It's right, but then the penetration or the access to all these technological products is very, very limited. So how can we overcome this technical illiteracy among the citizens?
Sorry. Yeah. How can we overcome? I just lost the audio.
How can you overcome this technical illiteracy?
Okay.
Listen, there is a smartphone with us, and I'm using it for a very, very, very limited purpose, is what actually he meant. There are otherwise so many things that we can do here today.
Yeah. Correct. Very true. There are multiple ways of looking at this, right? One, you do it for whatever you want to do it. That's pretty straightforward. Maybe even I own a phone which might be having a camera of, like, I don't know how many megapixels now. I don't even have the count. I don't know how much storage it has. I don't know. And maybe I'm just using it to make calls. Still, to be honest, till today I don't have a Facebook account. Yes, I'm one of those people who are not on Facebook as of today.
Yeah, that's one thing I would have personally thought of asking you. I think you also installed WhatsApp very recently. You're not in Twitter, not in LinkedIn, not in Facebook.
Right? So it is,
You
yes,
used to carry a very ordinary mobile.
very true, Guru, right? So it is, maybe who asked this question? Just want to link it to the name, maybe.
Yeah, there's a student named Ashish.
Ashish, right? Cool. Yeah, that's so apt in this industry. There is so much in abundance for sure. Maybe not just in mobile, in terms of anything and everything. Mm. And good part of there's always flip sides to it, right? One best part is we all, if I really want to do something, I can do it, right? I need not worry that, oh, is this available or not? What should I do when what should I do for this? There's always an answer in this world because, rightly put, there's so much crowd, there's so much knowledge, there are so many various businesses running. So just throw a stone and you'll get 10 businesses competing for the same problem statement. And the same thing is true for these kind of apps as well. Right? Uh, Only one thing is you are the best judge of what you want and use it judiciously. I think that will be the main mantra in this ever evolving and ever draining kind of world. Because, for example, if I'm hooked to Netflix, might be that I'll spend whole of my day on that. And there's no one stopping me. If there's no one else who's really keeping a tab on it, because today it's all free to an extent. I just have to pay $100 and I get movies for free. And maybe the same thing is true for internet, right? There is no limit on the data. There is no premium which I have to pay for a high speed. And this has to be taken up with both sides. A word of caution. Anything much is always not that good. And the positive side of it could be that I have so many options and I can make most of it. But coming back to the question, it is also very true. Because at some point in time, I might feel that, oh man, why am I just put to go through? Why am I just made to go through such a huge set of things which I don't want to? Maybe I want a best phone. And I just talked about, and Ashish did mention about a mobile phone. I want a best phone which is having good amount of speed, maybe a good camera, and that should be it for me. I don't want these kind of jazzy things. Maybe today there's also a problem, or there is also a good situation where the things are all cheap. The more the features, the more the amount of sales you do, uh, cost becomes very, very cheaper, right? Even that's one of the other thing we all are getting into where this is a bit of a vicious circle for sure. There is no running away from this, and this is going to get even worse. I think if this problem, if we are having a trend as is just bothering us, this is going to become even worse because things are getting cheaper. And slowly, you as individual is the commodity over here. Right? Maybe you would have heard this multiple times. Who is the business? Is actual Facebook or WhatsApp the business, or you are the business as an individual? Eventually, if you flip it on the other side, it might turn up that yes, I'm the business here because I'm not paying anything to Facebook. I'm not paying anything to WhatsApp. What are they making money out of? They're making money out of me because end of the day, I just browse them. I give them data, and they use that data to somehow link it to some other businesses and make most of it out of it, right? So
Is that
yes,
the reason you are not in any of those?
I don't know. Maybe you know it better. So it never started, and somehow I didn't
True, true.
get the opportunity to get into it. But yes, Ashish, this is very, very true. This I think we have to see the positive side and choose from the plethora of options what we have in front. That's the best way we can position ourselves.
There's one good question. I think it's the right time that he has posted.
Hmm.
He at the same time, we are seeing a lot of evolving in the technology. At the same time, it gets upgraded every now and then. So he talks about, Sashank talks about the upgradation, the speed at which these technologies are getting updated, and somewhere we tend to fall out in the race. We don't update ourselves over there. Is that the reason why we are lagging behind in this technological development?
There are two phases to it, right? One, uh, what is it I update as a software? Right? There are maybe just a quick fallback question to this, right? We all use Amazon for one thing or the other. It can be Amazon to buy something, Amazon to watch Prime, or maybe I don't know what else Amazon does, but yes, we all are hooked to Amazon as well to an extent. Uh, Amazon does their software updates as well. Any rough guess how many updates happen on Amazon's website daily? Software updates. Okay, Amazon does about minimum of 2,000 software updates a day, right, on their website. Maybe yes, this is their business to make sure they are up to date. On the second side, right, what the updates which we were mentioning here is on our apps. Right? The whole question with Shashank, it was Shashank, no, Guru?
Yes, correct.
Shashank would have specifically asked about the software updates which come our way. Right?
Yes, maybe that's what he meant. Yeah.
Right. So software updates, what are they doing? Right? There might be features which this app wants it to be updated. There might be security glitches which they are fixing. I am part of the software development cycle. No, I don't know. Even the product what I'm working on is a 5 years old product, and we have been evolving every month. We are adding new features to it. We are fixing few bugs on it. We are just evolving our product to make it even better every day. Because I have a team of 80, like we are a team of 80 who are working on this product. And trust me, from past 5 years, I have not stopped. And looking at the trends, looking at where things are today, I don't think so I'll stop for next 5 years as well. Just to put things into perspective, maybe to relate to what a software update would have happened on the mobile, right? There are hackers, there are a lot of security loopholes which come our way. It's always a bit of a tussle between how do you make a software and how do you break a software. It's as straight as possible, right? It's as straight as that. If you build a software, definitely I, as another party, would love to break it as well. And the other person who's building the software will eventually try to secure it. This is, I'll not say actual tug of war, but this is the situation or the irony here, right? If I'm having a banking software, if I'm having a Paytm app, most of us do use Paytms and Google Pays nowadays too, in this digital world to pay. There will be entities in this whole world to break into my particular space and try to take advantage of the current limitations what is there in the software, right? That is one of the main things where softwares do get updated. Right? And never forget to update the software. It's okay. Today, I think our bandwidth is so cheap that nothing goes on my internet for sure. Secondly, these software updates, if at all your app is a legal and a very stable application, please go for those updates. That's not the reason why you're not using full of that particular software, right? No, that's not the case. There are two aspects to it. One, any update could come with its own features, and that's a very good increment for me. Second, if you see those descriptions in those software updates, right, I have a tendency to go to all of these updates whenever they come in, because maybe I'm into the software industry and I write those help documents and release notes as well. Many a times you will see that there are few bug fixes, right, in any of the software updates, apart from 3 or 4 features which they would have introduced. Those are really required for your applications. So two answers which I want to really emphasize here. One, these updates are meaningful updates which would have come your way, right? These are not some spooky updates or people are just updating things on their whims and fancies, but they make sense from a applications reliability perspective, or applications existence perspective, or the overall security for you as an end user. Second, like Ashish and Shisham also mentioned, that might add a few more features into that particular application, which it's okay. if I didn't knew about this gap, if I'm not actually eager to catch that particular update, it's okay. I can still avoid it. Right? These are two aspects to it. But nonetheless, please go ahead and update as well. Coming back to Ash's point, right? If you don't want it, you just don't want it. Don't get too much into it. Don't worry much, Shashank, as well, in terms of if you don't update it, you will miss on something. It's okay. If you are able to live with it without knowing this feature, it won't harm you even tomorrow. Yeah, I know it might be a bit of a long answer, but I try to cover a bit more spectrum in terms of how this whole industry is also trying to keep itself up to speed in terms of threats, because that has become even more burning issue. Just want to just bring it up as well. Is one of the burning issue for us is we all want to live in a secured world. All want to secure our investments. We all want to. Whenever I go out of my house, I do tend to lock it and go. Right? We're still not in that era where things are all fair and square. So we want to secure ourselves. And today, my mobile is as much open as my I don't know Godrej, right? Because that has to be secure. Otherwise, your whole bank accounts are linked to your Google Pays today, right? And maybe you're just slowly getting into your, uh, I think, the whole commerce world as well, right? The whole financial world is revolving on your mobile and these apps, and it's even more difficult for us to secure it because the app building community is much smaller than the app breaking community around.
I think your interaction has made some students really curious. There's one real good question Vijay has asked. He says, "Is there any other person than me who has control over my phone?" Probably he's talking about data privacy or secrecy.
Kind of no, right? No, everything is in your hand for sure. And yeah, that comes with a caveat in the sense that when you deploy or when you download an app, if you're on Android or iOS, you do have those options, right? Do I allow access to my photos or do I allow access to whatever 10 or 15 checkboxes? You and I, we usually tend to say agree all. Maybe even after you agreeing all, they'll not be able to misuse anything because all of these providers, right? For example, your Android is as much responsible as anyone else to host that particular application on their platform. The same thing is true for Apple as well. Google and Apple are as much responsible for allowing that particular application on their platforms, right? They are not, they are liable if something really goes here and there. That is one part of the story, right? You can be at least 50% secured with that particular expectation. If an app is there on Android, it should be more or less easier, and they would have taken care of few aspects. Second, you also have those options on your downloads or uploads to make sure you control it. And third, if you have opted a no, maybe on your camera or your microphone, or maybe on your photos or any of those things, you can be rest assured that particular app will not access it. Right? This is one part of the story. Just to be putting things black and white, no, you can be rest assured you are in a safe place. Just flip it for a while, right? The point which I just mentioned, am I the business? Yes, you are the business. You can also take it with a pinch of salt, knowingly, unknowingly. Uh, your inputs are really valuable for me as a business. Your inputs matter a lot. The way you interact with those applications matter a lot. The way you browse, you search, you engage with your mobile matters a lot, and which is still within the purview of running that application. I'm bringing out data, I'm bringing out analytics, I'm bringing out those valuable insights, which is making money for me as a business, and that cannot be ignored at all. But it's okay. It's all good for us. End of the day, even I want to be living in a happier, peaceful, and a sophisticated world. where things do reach to me whenever I think of, and that's what your applications are also helping in. But yeah, to cut long story short, you're still secured. It's not that a bad word to be in.
Okay, Sashank, also wants your opinion on the WhatsApp chat leaks. Any idea you would like to answer that? How safe is a conversation in the WhatsApp?
No, it is safe. I don't think so. It's not that safe. Leaks means that I have leaked it. So it's not that if somebody is able to crack it and then
Okay.
open up the conversation and do it. If you and I have conversed, yes, if I have something against you, I'm leaking it. It's not that somebody in the man in the middle or something has happened in the middle. Yeah, maybe it is also a bit of a situation where it is not proved. It's not proven at all that somebody in the middle was able to look at my chat and was able to hack things on. It's always that somebody who's having access to that particular WhatsApp window would have taken a snapshot. Right, as we all see in the WhatsApps, right? It's all encrypted. Maybe it's a bit technical in nature, but when it says it's encrypted, there are algorithms which run behind the scene. Whatever goes from your device is encrypted in a format where nobody else can even see it in the middle. And only when the recipient receives that message, it gets decrypted on that particular end. Apart from WhatsApp itself, also, at least as per the message or the warning says, nobody else can read it apart from you and your receiver. And we can be rest assured that that's how it is.
There's a very interesting question.
Sure.
He says, I'm pursuing my BCom, I'm doing my, chartered accountants and all that. How important it can be even to have some courses taken on cyber security and cyber crime and all that? Will that be a good choice, a good option?
Yeah, why not? Definitely, yes. Maybe yes. It's also the right time where I take it a bit faster. I don't want to just spend the whole day. We can speak for the whole month as well on these topics. But yes, definitely yes. There are a lot of opportunities, and there are a lot of places where I, as a commerce, I as a finance expert, can bring our knowledge and expertise and interest in the software world. And why not? Anything on security is a premium where which is very, very limited in terms of the capacity, in terms of people who look at security are also very less in the industry.
Correct.
If somebody is interested in it, why not? Definitely yes. But I'll come to it. That's one opportunity.
And I'm glad that he's interested and.
Hello.
There was a glitch. You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
you. Yes, you can go on to the next part of your presentation.
Sure. Maybe I'll come back to that. Who was that? It was.
There's a registration number mentioned. The
No,
name is not visible properly.
No, good. I'll touch upon that in the next slide or two. I do have 10 minutes, right? Or
yes. You have.
Okay, super. Maybe this brings to another small, interesting area in the whole software as a business, right? We spoke about brick and mortar. We spoke about the evolution of web and internet. We spoke about the whole mobile as a paradigm and the whole connected world theory behind Internet of Things and making our data more and more visible and we becoming business and the other party is actually the commodity. Now I think it's the time where I would like to touch upon a fact where it's all in the cloud. Maybe there was time where companies used to run on their own private network just for the same point of security. Right? For me, if I'm a business, I have to talk about the pandemic now. Vaccine is something which the whole world is running into. And if that formula is actually not secured, even though it's a bit of an argument where why should I actually keep this formula hidden? Why can't I just open it up and save the world? That's a different part of the argument. But if I'm running a vaccine industry, today Pfizer or any of the other competitors who are playing in this industry, if the vaccines are not secured, what happens, right? Thus, such businesses, uh, as of today, would actually build the whole infrastructure in their own landscapes, in their own premises, for example. The same thing is true for military bases, right? Where if I'm Indian Army or maybe any other army as well, I would really hold secrets within my premise itself. Maybe I'll bring up big data centers. Maybe I'll bring up big servers and hold everything in my own space. But slowly and steadily, things are changing. For the mass, for smaller enterprises, maybe just think of a cafe coffee day, for example, or maybe a PVRs or Inoxes of this world, which is running movie business. Right? Why do they have to worry about anything building on a software? But still, they want to get their tickets booked on a mobile platform or on a Book My Show, for example. So what they eventually do is they might look for a few services on cloud and then they'll get associated to it, pay some bucks, and that's it. Right? This is how the whole industry is getting evolved from a stage where I was running my own life in a particular compound to a web and to a state now where I'll just do everything on cloud. It's so fascinating. Maybe I'll just open a URL similar to gmail.com or something and run all of my businesses there. And someone else is anyhow taking care of this particular infrastructure of the platform or the actual application. Why I'm trying to bring this aspect here is also on the security part. The more and more I tend to believe in someone else, someone else could be still a big player like Microsoft, for example. Maybe I'm using a few jargons now. Microsoft has a cloud service known as Azure. That's a term which they use. Like that, Amazon of the world has it. Google have it. Maybe SAP also has it. So how much you as a business will trust on someone like Microsoft to hold all the data and to make sure that data is secured, which is not even on your, forget about your mobile, right? It is that you're putting the whole of your business data. Business is all about information end of the day. Maybe if you're running uh, a customer base, the whole information about customer is stored in a third party cloud system. Maybe if you're running a company with about 1,000 employees, the whole record of that employee base, for example, it can be their personal details or their compensation details or anything and everything of employee could be stored in a cloud from a third party vendor. So just look at now the security in few other angles also, right? What is the trust for me as a business to have on someone like Microsoft so that he doesn't give my data to some other business, right? These are all intriguing things we are already into. The whole world today, just this is one side of the story about the security and aspect. Second side of the story, just think of the ease of business today. I need not worry about anything. I'll just pay some bucks to one of these providers and they'll take care of the rest, which is nothing like that, right? I didn't earlier, even though my business is running movie, running PVR or Inoxes, I should have worried about setting up the server at my base also, which is not the case today. Right? That's how maybe slowly the positive side of security is also coming into play. That I don't care too much about running these businesses, running these softwares on my side as a business. Instead, I'll depend on such players. Maybe one more angle to this. Just think. Maybe Guru and I would be able to relate to it as well. Uh, when we were in 10th or 12th or even in any of our degrees, right, our results would always go into a glitch whenever it was announced. Supposedly at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, it was supposed to, that server used to go down simply because all of us, maybe, I don't know how many people would have written 12th at that point in time. Assume that 10,000 or 20,000, 50,000 people would try to hit that URL and the whole server of college would have gone down. just assume now we are on cloud. What I'll do uh, as a university is I will just take their service for a week, only for a week. I'll pay them a bit more so that they'll make the system a bit more scalable, and everything goes smooth. And irrespective of me setting, otherwise, what I should have done is I should have expanded my service to such level if I had actually set up everything on my place. Just think of the difference now. Instead of setting up everything here, I'll just pay a couple of bucks more to that particular provider and make myself as smooth as possible. So these are parallel avenues which I, as a software, is also getting into. Any views, any thoughts, any questions on these?
Um, Not till now. You can go on.
Yeah, cool.
The next part. Yes,
Yeah, maybe another interesting aspect which I just quickly want to touch upon is the whole business itself. This you can, there's no line which I'm drawing between software as well as business, right? At some point in time, I started by saying we are all one, we are connected, we are joined, and we all have a role to play in this whole game. And that is so true even here. Maybe at some point in time, in the 2000s or even before, there were hardly any things we used to hear about mergers or coming together and trying to run a show instead. We were always hearing about competing with each other, or I will end up building everything for myself. But that's not the case now. We have evolved so much, and as is even Ashish was mentioning, right? There are so many players in the market where there is no point in us actually building everything from scratch. We can actually depend on the existing available entities and try to make ourselves successful. Like this, maybe at some point in time, if Reliance was thinking of building our own social media, maybe 15 years back, they would have started to think of building something instead of joining hands with Facebook for some of their avenue. The same thing is true for a lot of players in the software market itself to come together. We would have heard about mergers, we would have heard about trying to partner with another player to make something successful, or trying to take some services from a third party vendor and making it more and more uh, revenue based. Is the whole mantra which the industry, at least the software industry and the businesses are getting into. The second one is also an interesting one where we talk mostly on the no ownership model. Maybe any thoughts on what is this no ownership model? What it could be? Any examples you guys could think of?
Contractual?
Yeah, definitely, right? Yeah, one thing is contractual for sure. Maybe just think of, I think few of you would have anyhow used Uber, right? Uber is a no ownership model today. As Uber runs a couple of softwares here and there. The whole business of Uber is based on some cabs or some facilities which they are not owning it, but still they're able to make money out of it. And the same thing is true for Airbnb, where they provide a lot of aspects which is not theirs. For example, booking.com, housing.com, or my bookmyshow.com, right, where you don't have to own that particular business to actually make money. It is also about how you can facilitate a few of the needs of the community to actually make money. And these are the various newer angles which have come up in this particular century. I don't know where all it will take up to, because like we spoke in the previous slides, right? It's all on the data, it's all on the information what you provide, it's all on the way you interact with the community. And those are the means where new model, new businesses will definitely pop up. And as students, as colleagues, and as friends who are uh, in this particular generation who have this opportunity to do something on their own. Keep yourself very, very agile and open and grab on these opportunities because this is the time where any good idea just flies. I think there's no one to stop any of these new ideas and be open to put yourself into any of these situations. Good. Just a second. Yeah. Maybe just want to touch upon another aspect before getting into the opportunities, right? I'll not take much time here. There are a lot of things which I don't know, you would have heard about how a company runs, maybe how, or maybe if one of your Guru, one of your students also can quickly help me through what is it they think how a software company runs from a uh, software building perspective. Just it can be anyone, any high thoughts, high level thoughts is also okay. We can make this next 2 to 3 minutes a bit more interactive if they can also unmute.
Go on, students, if any.
I want to understand what is their thought process in knowing how a company is actually run, how a team is run, how do we do it? What are your thoughts? Yeah,
One
no,
of them said
I believe.
software company
Hmm?
employees enjoy their work life really more.
I think enjoyment is part of
You're the
what.
right person to answer that. Is that so?
Yeah, definitely true, right? No, okay, that was a comment, is it? Nice. So yeah, maybe just I'll start on my view, and then we'll also get into a bit of engagement if it need be. Definitely, as a whole culture, yeah, maybe yeah, that's a good thing. Also, if we all believe that software people enjoy the most, maybe it's in the culture as well, right? The whole point of there's no top down now, or there might not be top down even before, but now it is even more open. The whole culture is so broad. There's no hierarchies. Everyone is one,
True.
and we all try to achieve a target. Uh, that is the beauty of the whole industry now. That is the beauty of the current running businesses now. If you are having a hierarchy, that means you're defeating the purpose of sharing information, of sharing information at the right time. That is where the whole software believes in as of today. The more the informative you are, the more the decisions you can take, and sooner the decision you make is good for the business. So this is the mantra that most of us are getting into, and that's why the whole culture and people becomes very integral part of running a business. And two areas of engage and empower will have to supplement or will have to actually complement this particular behavior wherein I'll have to be engaging with my customer, end user, so that I have to understand their needs, understand their problems, understand the requirement. If I don't engage, I'll not be able to build something which is really relevant. Because today, with this changing world, with the world with so many options and opportunities, if you're not up to the mark, you will take no time to perish. It will just go off, right? That's why you should be more and more engaging with the end user and end customer. Third, and the last, or maybe the first most also could be on empowering your employees, right? I, as a software industry, completely believe, should believe rather, I not say believe, I should believe in employee empowerment because that's where a lot of things is. Maybe the bug, the issue which I fix as an employee or a fresher or a junior most person must be so much empowered that he can also stand up and say this is right or wrong. The whole software industry today believes in few of these people related cultures, which is also a very good state for me as a student to look at it, right? You might always feel that, oh man, software is it only for engineers? No, I'll come to that now. Maybe this part. Yeah. So maybe this is how I develop in my software uh, development team, for example, right? Maybe this can be drilled down into 500 smaller items, and there are like 10 different items on top of it. But I'll just try to capture few areas what goes in during the product development, right? We have a phase to ideate. We have a phase we collect the market uh, responses of a product. We have a phase wherein we define the product, what it needs to be. For example, in the current context, we define app, right? I'm part of building teams as well. When I said that I'm building cloud applications, we do build mobile applications on for those particular SAP enterprise softwares, right? So what do? We have a phase where we ideate, where we collect data from market. There are a lot of analysts around. I don't know, one or two might you would have heard. Analysts like Gartner who would see where is the overall Gartner quadrants going towards, and spend quite an amount of time to define the product. And this is the toughest phase because any penny I am putting on the next phase is completely driven out of this defining of the product and where the market is today. And then I do develop the product. And this development also has its own flavors, but yes, I do spend time in developing the product. And once I develop the product, there will be a lot of qualities, and I'll have to document it and then maybe maintain and monitor it. And the last leg could also be on publicizing this product. I'll have to market it, maybe I'll have to sell it, and then collect the feedback as well from the customer. And every phase of it is equally important. And trust me, all of these phases don't need only engineers, or I don't have to depend only on engineers to fulfill maybe three of these phases. Three upon four, I'm still open for experts. And that expert, just if you have to see here, defined, right? Uh, most of the applications you would have seen, which would have impressed you, could be on the design of the application, could be on the ease of use of the application, could be on the whole styling, color theming, color coding of the application, right? So all of those experts are actual experts in usability designs. They're not coming from engineering only. The same thing in the first phase of ideate or market research, they are all my experts in the domain. Maybe I'm an expert in retail, maybe I'm an expert in finance, maybe I'm an expert in security aspects, which we just talked about, right? I have experts who need not be engineers, but yes, engineers or any other domain is also welcome. But you are known as a subject matter expert, and that expert could be from any other domain. And why not? A CA is definitely an expert to define my finance-based product, right? A commerce grad is definitely an expert for me to ideate or do a market research. Or an MBA guy will definitely be a very good fit to define the product. So don't maybe I know I'm just tickling that thought also in your mind that yes, an expert need not be an engineer in the first big important phase of the product to ideate, to do a market research, to define the scope of a product, to actually design the product. And the next phase could be a software development here as well. Just completely open to say uh, this area is primarily driven by engineers, but it's not a computer science engineer for sure. This could be engineers of any background. Unfortunately, today industries do prefer engineers here, but that's no matter of time. It would change, but it's okay. Mm. The third leg here to do my quality checks, to do my validation, to do my documentation is not only done by my engineers. My documentations are all my art and English experts who build user-friendly guides, user-friendly documentation, who are actually grads and postgrads in those specific domains, right? And definitely the last segment, if you see on the marketing and selling and collecting feedback, is a definite subject matter expert in various other areas not specific to engineering. And these are the opportunities which I'm not saying that you guys will have to get into a software, but given the interest, given the opportunity you get, don't you ever think, for me, yeah, if I have taken a commerce or a finance or a CA kind of a background, because I do have a lot of CA friends who are contributing in this industry. Maybe I'll also share those contacts with you guys if you're really interested in. Uh, they are in this industry from quite some time, specifically into the overall marketing and selling aspect of it, where the whole money matters and people are into those areas and those domains, right? I have my design friends who are not from engineering background at all in the overall definition and product design kind of a phase. And definitely my knowledge management colleagues are building my documentation. So opportunities are plenty in this industry as well, given a chance, given your interest, and maybe even one or two I want to be part of this ever growing industry. There's definitely a chance as well for us to be here. Yeah, having said that, I'm way over time. I think this is what I wanted to quickly share with you guys on how this industry has evolved and what are the new nuances which have come up here, and where are we placed as a software company, where are we placed as software development teams. It's very, very exciting. We do build beautiful things with super fast pace and ever changing needs, and definitely there's a place for everyone who are interested in joining hands. Would like to hand it over to Guru with that note.
It's great. I think
Thanks a lot for giving me this opportunity. Talk to you guys.
We should thank you for that. Meanwhile, yes, is it possible that you can stop your screen share so that we can? Yes. I think the end part of it was more exciting for the students, whether I, as a commerce or a CA student, could really explore some opportunities at the software segment is what I think probably you have, sown the seed over there. So let's see, there's a lot of time. They're just in the first years. And probably, if at all I happen to pick some of them who would like to explore in this, I would definitely connect them with you. Or probably in the coming days when the things go normal, if you're able to have one visit to our campus, that would be really great too. Because what I found is that they are really excited to know more about technology, more about software. They know that this is the future. This is the future, and this is what is going to be the game changing in tomorrow's the country as a whole. So I'm really sure that they're all looking forward. Yes, that was a great interaction. The topic was really good, and the interaction was very nice. It was two-way rather. It didn't happen to be monotonous, and the questions were well taken and well answered. Thank you so much, Tejasvi, for being with us. On behalf of my entire staff team, the management, and all the students across multiple campuses of Udupi, Bangalore, and Mangalore, I extend a very heartfelt thanks to you. It was great listening to you as always. I'm very sure this is just the beginning. Probably we'll be having the many more interactions in the coming days. Can I take your closing remarks?
Yeah, cool, man. It's my pleasure to be part of such a wonderful set of students to interact. This has been, at least for me, one of the very few interactions with students. Maybe would have loved to have it face to face. I think it would have been more in a much more collaborative way. But yes, having said that, this is definitely yes. I'll be more than happy to join you guys whenever things get back to normal, and we'll have more such events. And yeah, good that you also put things forward, right, in a way that software is one of the domains which is ever evolving, and we all can find a place in that particular aspect. Nothing like that. Thanks a lot once again.
Great. Thank you so much, students. Thank you so much for being here despite of a Sunday. I wish everyone a great Sunday ahead. And Tejasvi, once again, thank you so much for being a part of this session. I could say this is a validatory session. This is the end of the bridge course Disha, but I'm very sure with the interactions what we had from the last almost 15 20 days, I have them really given them a Disha. That is what the name of the all about. The pathway. I'm very sure there were a lot of takeaways from the deliberations that happened. And yes, we are all with you, students. Please feel free to get back to us for any point of time, and I'm very sure we'll be able to answer your queries and bring in a lot of clarity at whatever thoughts you have. Yes, thank you so much. I wish everyone a great day ahead, and once again, thank you, Tejasvi. Also wishing you a great Sunday, and yes, stay safe and stay healthy.
Hey, thanks a lot, guys. Bye
Bye.
bye.